Here we have a new 2026 GMC Acadia. This one comes in the Elevation trim level. It's a front wheel drive model. This is ebony twilight metallic. We have after dark cloth interior. For the powertrain, we get a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, this is a black edition as well, which really just makes this a more coveted spec in my opinion. To the front end here, we do get our LED daytime running lights, LED headlamps, but I absolutely love just how this car looks without the headlamps on, just the LED daytime running lights and everything blacked out. It's just, it looks sick in my opinion. Love these wheels. These are gonna be 22-inch aluminum. We get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. And then to the door panel, power door lock controls here. We have our power mirror controls. We do get blind spot monitors in those. And then we have 3 windows with express down. The driver's side gets 1 touch up and down. Power lift gate, Bose sound system, and then electronic parking brake, drive modes, auto stop toggle there. Hood release, manual tilt, as well as telescoping steering wheel. And then here's the power driver's seat with 2-way power lumbar support. But I want to give a huge thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee for allowing me to review this vehicle today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. Takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But $49,985 is the sticker price on this one. I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs, so we're gonna see how I fit back here in the second row. So I think pretty good space back here. Seat back pockets are on both sides, which is nice. Rear AC controls are there. You get 2 USB-C charge ports. It's probably hard to see down there where it's darker. And then a little storage tray as well. But there's a look at the front from back here. And it's just crazy. The inside, outside, everything is blacked out here for the most part. Now this is an 8-passenger setup, so there's a third row. You get a USB-C charge port and a bottle holder on either side. And again, that might be a bit more difficult to see because it's so far back. And we get manual child locks on the side, so lock, unlock there. Fuel filler. And then as we come around to the back end, love this look as well. You get the quad tip exhaust, LED tail lamps. Your tow hitch is integrated behind that cover there. Now this is in transport mode, so the lift gate's not fully activated. But there's a look at the third row. Pretty good space behind the third row as well. And a big plus, I think, is we have the top tethers for the car seats on all 6 of the rear seats there. If you want to fold these flat for whatever reason, just pull here, push, and then when the seats are up far enough in the second row, those will fold flat. And then you just grab the strap, pull it back into place there. 12 volt right there, storage, and then you unscrew these 4 screws here. You'll either have the spare tire or a tire inflator kit underneath, but you can see there how to get to it. But that's how you normally close it if it were not in transport mode. So I just kind of help save the battery life on these. Now to the rear passenger side, there are your lower anchors. But from either side, the easiest way to get to the third row, pull up here. You can actually tumble these seats forward, and then it just makes it easier to step in to get to that back seat. But you can see kind of with the second row back and the third row, that's your leg room there. So if you have 6 smaller children, this will work beautifully, but I wouldn't recommend having bigger adults back there. But again, you can kind of configure all of these seats to fit everybody that needs to be put in here. Now to the front passenger seat. It's manual 4-way, so seat back and then seat bottom control there. And you have a little storage pocket underneath here with a 12 volt, and then You can put a small bag, or what would really be cool is to have, if you had like an inverter or something, you can find those 20, 30 bucks on Amazon, hook up your iPad and it can charge that way if you run out of USB ports for whatever reason. But there's the glove compartment. Now, as we come back around to the front end, we're just gonna take a quick look in the engine bay. There's that 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And then we're gonna show off the blinkers before we hop in the driver's seat. But let's go ahead and hop in there. So, leather wrap steering wheel here. There's the horn. Now over here to the screen, like the newer vertical screen setup here, it's actually pretty neat in my opinion. Now, for the audio, we do get AM, FM, XM along with Bluetooth, and then we have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility as well. With the Google Assistant system, we get Google Maps as well as the Google News app there. And then your vehicle status is in here, so you can click on the animation to see oil, life, battery voltage, etc. Or you can go into the actual sub-menus here and you can kind of see all of those. So it'll show you the brake pad life, the tire pressure, oil life, and then you go into the gauges and you can see coolant temperature, oil pressure, all of that there. Now, I am glad that even though this is an Elevation, we have fabric seats, we still have a front camera, backup camera, curbside view as well. And then for the climate control, we do get dual zone automatic, so we can adjust fan direction there, temperature, fan speed, and then you have controls down here, which I really like this setup. You can either push the screen or use the button on all of these controls here. But then you have 3-stage heated seats for the front. Traction control, auto high beams, etc. and this control button that's always on the screen. And then your headlamps are here as well. But you can also turn them on if you want to. Just make sure you set them off or to auto, because you will have to basically either put the car in accessory mode or start it back up to get the headlights on or off, because you don't have a stock for that anymore. Lane keeping system. Then your settings are over here. So your vehicle settings, those include rear seat reminder, team driver, buckle to drive. And then you have your system settings down here, which include your language you can change, as well as your units of measurement there. But down here below, wireless charging pad, you get a USB-C and a USB-A input, and those wire directly to the radio. Bottle holders are here. Center console cubby space with a removable tray there. And there's a look at the back seat from up here. Sunglasses holder. Your hazards are here, OnStar. This one has a rear camera mirror, so I like having that. And you can turn that off, turn it back on there. And then your vanity mirror right here. Now back to the front. Blinkers, wipers, rear wipers there. Pull that way or this way for the rear fluid, push in for the front fluid, and then your high beam is actually activated here as well. But your shifter's on the column, so hit the brake, pull for neutral, pulling up for reverse, pulling down for drive, and then while in drive, hit this L. That activates the low mode, and you can see in that bottom right-hand corner of the gauge cluster, these paddle shifters behind the steering wheel will control what gear you're in there. But park, press that in. Now we do have adaptive cruise, so we can turn that on, hold this cancel button to go to regular, and then back to adaptive. And then in adaptive, we can adjust the gap adjust for that, as well as the forward collision alert using that button there. And you can set your speed here. Right side of the steering wheel, heated steering wheel toggle, goes to radio station favorites, and then when you pull up the audio sources, you can use that as a scroll bar there as well. Voice recognition, Bluetooth controls are here, so this pulls up the phone by pushing up, and then if you're not in the Bluetooth mode, you can hold that down and that activates the mute. But behind the steering wheel, we can go through the track list or radio station favorites, and then behind on the right side, volume up, volume down. Push button start. Finally, Here's the key fob, and we do get remote start here as well. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2026 GMC Acadia Elevation out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Acadia here, this 2.5 turbo is basically in the new Acadias, the newer Traverses, the newer Enclaves, and I think they really get them up to speed very nicely. It's a 4-cylinder, but the turbo really just makes it more fuel efficient. But again, when you're needing that power, you have that there without always having to, be running those 2 extra cylinders that you might in a V6. Now, a lot of people don't like that, but me personally, I like the power, the feeling of exhilaration almost that you get having a turbo in your engine. But I'm gonna put it into sport mode. We're gonna give it a little pull getting on the interstate, but nothing crazy because this car only has 5 miles on it. But I am gonna give it a little something. Here we go. So, I mean, the acceleration here is actually very good. Not too fast, but it does put the work in when you need it, again. But I do want to give a huge thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Acadia today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get to the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But you can see the adaptive cruise control doing its thing as that car didn't know what it was doing. And then as it gets out from in front of me, it picks up speed to get back up to where I wanted it to be. But ride quality here is really good. The platform of the Traverse, the Acadia, the Enclave has always been very nice. So the ride quality has always been there. And, we still have that great ride quality here. Now, in terms of what you get for the money here, I mean, right at around $50,000, I feel like you might have better options, but it just depends on how you see things. I really like this black edition here. Now, on the Enclave Preferred I reviewed earlier, I really like how that was spec'd out because you got leatherette. You had a lot of options. A really nice looking front here from the driver's seat. But this is for those that want something that's a bit more flashy. And I will say this is a looker. When you see this driving down the road, you're like, man, that thing is clean. Especially washing this black here. Wheels are black, trim's black, paint's black. The interior is pretty much black. You throw some tint on here and this thing will, man, it'll look fantastic. And even without the tint, it'll look fantastic because you have the tint on the back windows anyway. I would just probably put maybe 35 on the front. But again, it has a lot of the things that you would expect for this money. Even though the seats are fabric, you still have the heated seat function, dual zone automatic climate controls, USB ports everywhere, different drive modes, which I love. You can't go wrong with this. It's just a looker in that aspect. Now, I do think for those that want something that's a bit less flashy, again, that Enclave Preferred that I had done previously, that was perfect. The moonstone gray, and you have the sandstone leatherette interior. Still had all the functionality you'd expect with a wireless CarPlay and the Android Auto. But in terms of the body, just stock, I think the best looking SUV from GM, and keep in mind, they've knocked them all out of the park. That new Traverse, though, is it's something else. Just the back end of those is just nasty. It looks so good. But again, with this Acadia, I feel like you get some elegance, some subtlety, but especially with this black edition, you get something that's still a cold-blooded looker. And with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2026 GMC Acadia Elevation with a black edition package.